This morning, as of midnight last night, Jonathan Kuminga is eligible to be traded. And our Shams is here, Anthony Slater is here. They're reporting that he has demanded a trade away from the Warriors. The NBA trade deadline, February 5th, a whisper away. So Shams, Anthony, joining me now. The Warriors have 3 weeks to do something. Shams, how did they get here and what comes next?
MJ, the Jonathan Kuminga Golden State Warriors relationship is fractured. It is non-existent, specifically the relationship between Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga. It's been described to me as fractured beyond repair, completely deteriorated. And everyone in that Warriors building knows that Jonathan Kuminga wants out. He's been wanting a trade out of Golden State, and tensions have only risen over the last several weeks when he's basically been banished. He's the fourth highest paid player on the Warriors, but he has not been in the rotation. So the Warriors have been canvassing the trade market for Jonathan Kuminga. Two teams that have stood out with interest, mutual interest. Jonathan Kuminga has interest in them. They have interest in Jonathan Kuminga, are the Sacramento Kings and the Dallas Mavericks. He's got a unique contract structure, a team option next season that allows him to be a little bit more trade. He wants to get a trade elsewhere to see whether he is the all-star that he believes in himself.
Anthony, how are the Warriors viewing the situation?
I had one source basically describe the current situation as a, quote, complete waste of everybody's time. And I think the term everybody matters there because obviously you have a player who has these, ambitious career desires and at this point feels a little held hostage by the organization. You have a Hall of Fame coach who's made it very clear he doesn't think Kuminga fits with what they're trying to do to win now. And, Steve Kerr's very empowered at this moment, later in his career, coaching career, later in this core to make those decisions. And then you have a group of veterans who are, number one, they're pretty fond of Jonathan Kuminga, and they don't love seeing him in this limbo. And also, Jonathan Kuminga's making $22.5 million. He's rotting on the bench at this point, and they're trying to win a championship this season. Jimmy Butler said they're playing mediocre basketball recently. Well, that $22.5 million could be used in the trade market to get somebody who could help. And I think some of the reason you're feeling some of this angst building is because the Warriors are at least signaling to people that they don't have to trade Kuminga if they don't like the offers. And there are a lot of people on the ground level being like, this situation needs to get resolved by February 6th.
Anthony, there's always a tipping point. So where was it? Where did the relationship go bad here?
How long do we have? This is 5 years of a story, but I'll sum up what's happened recently quick. I mean, you have the contentious negotiations over the summer. Me and Shams are on here, basically every week, relaying the latest, issues between the two sides. He comes back feeling a type of way about the contract he feels he was forced into by the Warriors, this team structure or team-friendly structure to be traded. He thought he had, chances elsewhere where he would have got the starting job and opportunity he wanted. He starts to begin the season. It seemed like it was going well, but that was always on a rotten foundation where the moment it went wrong, Steve Kerr went away from Jonathan Kuminga. The moment Steve Kerr went away from Jonathan Kuminga, it was reopening old wounds where he said, Steve Kerr's never believed in me, and it kind of devolved from there. And I think the biggest picture takeaway I can say with my conversations with the Kuminga side is they feel like this is a 5-year tug of war where he is a pawn, and it is about the misalignment between ownership and a coach where Steve Kerr doesn't believe in Kuminga necessarily as a player that fits with his core, but ownership at various times has been unwilling to trade him, and we're in the 5th year of this basic hostage situation, and Jonathan Kuminga wants out at this point.
Yeah, a lot of layers there, but one thing clear, there's a riff. All right, Anthony, thank you so much. Kuminga has missed 23 games this season, but the Warriors boast a 13-10 record in those games compared to a 9-9 record with games with Kuminga. Right, everybody, I am MJ Acosta-Ruiz in for Malika Andrews today, joined in the desk, full squad here, full court press, if you will, joined by Brian Windhorst, Shams Charania, Bobby Marks, and NBA champ Kendrick Perkins holding it down. Perk, how did the Warriors get to this point?
Can we address the elephant in the room? And look, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about this dysfunctional organization. Real talk. When you talk about the Golden State Warriors, yes, we're talking about a team that was a dynasty at a period of time. But since Bob Myers has left that organization, it has been nothing but dysfunctional. When you talk about the breakup with Klay Thompson, you talk about this relationship between Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga. I'm starting to question their player development, and they're doing a disservice to the most important player in that organization, in the history of that organization, is Steph Curry, who, by the way, is averaging 28 points this season. Damn it, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Out of all the teams that are trying to go compete for a title, they're not only set up for the now, but they're set up for the future. The Golden State Warriors don't have a real future outside of Stephen Curry. So they have to get this right. Right when it comes down to getting back the right piece for Jonathan Kuminga, it's just very embarrassing and it's a big disappointment. And when it comes down to talking about this situation with the Golden State Warriors.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here leading off the signature show of the NBA, talking about a player who hasn't played for a month, who's having the worst shooting season of his career, playing for a team that self-described as mediocre. Jimmy Butler called the team mediocre the other day, and he wasn't wrong. Steve Kerr recently called the team a fading dynasty, and he wasn't wrong. What are we doing here? If he had had an offer last summer from another team, he would have signed an offer sheet. He didn't have an offer sheet. A pox on both of their houses. I've had enough of this. This is not a significant thing. Just move on. I can't take it anymore. We've seen Anthony Slater go through 4 seasons in his backyard talking about this story, about a guy who is not a significant. Shams and Slater reported 2 weeks ago he had a chance to play, and he said, I got a back injury.
I'm going to be Mr. Positivity to this all situation here. We got all the anchors here. I do think, how do we find a resolution? I think that's the end goal here.
Please.
We have 3 weeks to do that here with Kuminga's trade contract, which is right around $22.5 million here. They certainly need front court help, right? And how do you go out and do it? But how do you do that and align with the Curry, Butler, and Green timeline, 3 players that have 1 year under contract? And here's the question that we don't know. What happened if Jonathan Kuminga's on this roster at 3:01 on February 5th Eastern time? What happens then? That's the unknown of everything here.
Yeah, we will have more on that.
I'm going to need pharmaceuticals.
Sure. The Brian Windhorst support group is taking new members. The Warriors face the Knicks tonight. They're in the midst of a rough West Coast road trip, playing in Sacramento last night.
This is one of the worst, if not the worst, that I've seen us play the entire year in terms of following a game plan and keeping the game simple. I got to give the Kings credit because they took it to us, and we didn't respond in any way, shape, or form. But even before Jalen got hurt, we weren't following the game plan, and I'm not sure why, but we just kind of were out there, just going through the motions. If you go through the motions in this league, it doesn't matter. You're gonna get your behind kicked, and we got our behind kicked.
Yeah, they might get a pass, for losing without their star guard, but that doesn't explain the recent stretch. Since winning the NBA Cup, the Knicks have a losing record and the second worst defense in the NBA, ahead of only the Jazz. They've allowed 110 points in 16 straight games for the first time since the 1960s. Questions, comments, concerns, personal crises as it compares to the Knicks?
I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned. And y'all know I'm a big body Brunson fan to the max. But the most important player on that squad, if they're trying to get to the NBA Finals or even thinking about winning the NBA championship, is Karl Anthony Towns. And there's too many times throughout the course of this season that I'm watching the Knicks play, and he doesn't seem engaged on both ends of the floor. Now, we see this right here, right? Like, just it's the dumb fouls. Like, we've been talking about that for the last 2 years. They're going to start him at center. If your center is not going to anchor your defense and play with the type of force and tenacity, then they're not going to have a shot. Yes, they're going to get through the regular season. They may win the first round. They may win the second round. But when you talk about possibly meeting up with those two lines over there in Detroit, I'm talking about Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart. Man, Karl Anthony Towns, you got to be ready to get your feet hot in the trenches.
Yeah, their defense obviously is struggling right now, but I'm more worried about their offense. The Knicks are designed to be an elite offensive team. They were the number 3 offense in the league from the start of the year through Christmas. The reason they haven't been able to sustain a bad defensive stretch here is their offense has collapsed. 112 points last night, that's not ideal, but you should survive that if you're an elite offense like the Knicks. They need to get their offense back, and now I'm worried that Brunson might miss some time.
I think big picture, they're going to be judged what happens in the playoffs. Them in Cleveland, what happens in in May or June here. I think short term, I think it is concerning. I think these guys let their coach down last night. I mean, here's a coach who was fired by Sacramento, and you go in there and you're non-competitive. Even when Jalen Brunson was out there, and then you get, I know Sacramento's played better of late, but you're in a non-competitive game against the Sacramento team that hasn't even hit 10 wins this year.
Yeah, but Bobby, I'm with you, but you got to get to the postseason.
Yeah.
And you got to get through the process. And again, I'm not trying to pick on Karl Anthony Towns, but they traded for him last year for them to move the needle, right? And we need the best version of the Knicks is when Karl Anthony Towns is at his best. Last year, he averaged 24 points. This year, he's averaging 21. It's too many times he's floating around the three-point line, and I get it, Wendy. Me and you always go back and forth with this offense, defense, but the one thing you can agree with me on is that when you talk about teams that win championships or get to the finals, they be top 10 defensively and top 10 offensively.
All right, we have plenty more to come. Lots to say for sure. We've got the latest on Cooper Flagg's ankle. Will his injury change how the Mavs approach the trade deadline? Shams is sticking around, busy on his phone as always, working. And do the Rockets need to make a move? Who's on the market that's gettable? The trade winds are blowing, and NBA Today rolls on. Next. Weeks ago, the Clippers had a 6-21 record, and Ty Lue said all they need to do is go 35-20 from here on out, aka get to 500 by the end of the season. Well, over the last 4 weeks, the Clippers are 11-2, so maybe Ty is on to a little something here. Clippers got the win last night over the Wizards, 119-105. Kawhi Leonard has now scored 20 or more points in 22 straight games, tied for the longest streak of his career. Bobby, how impressed are you?
Well, they got a red-hot Kawhi Leonard going. That's what's impressed me right now. 32 points in the last 10 games, and they've shifted a little bit more towards their youth, a little bit away from their veterans here. Young legs help trying to get back in the thick of things here.
Yeah, my mom says, Juventud divino tesoro, divine treasure. Zion had one of those nights that reminds us how dominant he can be on the court. Check out these dunks against the Nets last night. They have families. 25 points on 11 for 14 shooting. Brian.
Muy bien for Zion Williamson.
Muy bien. 17
consecutive games played for Zion Williamson. That is the best thing I can say. In the last 5, he's shooting 68%. He looks trim. He looks athletic. And I'm going to tell you something. People can say whatever they want. The Pelicans are not looking to trade him right now. They're looking to make that 17 games like 37 games.
Back. Cleveland got the win in Philly, but lost Darius Garland along the way. Garland exited in the third quarter with a right foot injury, did not return. Shams, what's the latest?
I'm told Darius Garland is expected to be out on Friday in that game against the Philadelphia 76ers, once again here on ESPN. And the expectation is then he'll be reevaluated once the team goes back to Cleveland this weekend. But this is the opposite foot that he had offseason surgery on last summer.
Holy something. Yikes. All right. Meantime, no Nikola? No problem. Again, Jamal Murray led the Nuggets with 33 to beat the Mavs, 118-109. The Nuggets improved to 6-3 without Joker. Perk, what are the Nuggets showing about their depth?
Shams, what your Chicago boy,
Come on.
you heard both say, went legit. They went legit without Jokic, damn it, and they've been balling. And they are legit title contenders. Jamal Murray playing at an all-star level. Peyton Watson showing he could be a key piece. They have all the pieces, check the boxes to be a legit title contender.
Perk, I told you Jamal Murray was going to be an all-star before the season.
I didn't disagree.
Roll the tape, man. Roll the tape.
Got the receipts, Shams, don't worry. On the Mavs end of things, we saw Cooper Flagg turn his ankle in that second quarter. He did not return. Shams, what are you hearing about Flagg's injury?
I'm told the positive news here is Cooper Flagg just tweaked his ankle. There's not significant concern here. He's listed doubtful to play in tonight's game, but from what I'm told, he is fine. It was just an ankle tweak. He's so young. I'm sure he'll bounce this off very soon.
No question. Brian, how cautious do you think they should be?
Very cautious. I mean, Cooper Flagg has shown he wants to play. He's not looking to take time off, but listen, I hate to say this, but it's just the truth. Every loss going forward for the Mavericks is a win for their draft pick and building around Cooper. And so if he's not 100%, don't put him out there.
What? Why are you laughing?
It's the truth.
That's what we're going for here, Perk.
We only speak the truth. All right, let's go to a big three. Check in on the college hoops world. At number 3, Patton Pinkins. This was incredible. Ole Miss versus Georgia. Ole Miss with the final possession here. Off the miss, Pinkins. Oh,
I don't
the
even know what
follow-up shot
happened.
and calls the game. There's chaos.
Grab a rebound.
But the
somebody.
freshman got it off
out.
his fingertips with 1 second left in OT. Nice. All right, at number 2, Malachi Marino. Kentucky down 1. Marino catches the full court press. Buzzer beater.
That's from my childhood, Perk.
Oh!
That's Leitner.
Exactly
That Duke give me
that.
those five.
Oh, yeah.
1992's Duke's Grant Hill throws a similar pass over to Leitner, who hits these shots against the Wildcats for a spot in the
rooting for
Final
Kentucky, I'm
Four.
not gonna lie.
All right, at number 1, Boopy Miller, whose
I like that name.
government name is Kevin, I'm told. SMU down 2 with 2 seconds left. Boopy, half court. Come on. And the pyrotechnics. Are you kidding?
Wow. That's the best shot I've ever seen a Boopy make.
Perk, you ever hit a game-winning shot?
How many boopies have you seen?
Not from that far out.
Not from that far out.
Out from inside.
They didn't call.
Steph Curry and the Warriors have won 9 of their last 13 games and are now 8th in the West. They are in Game 5 of a long 8-game homestand with the Knicks in town tonight. But despite the recent success, the Dubs have found the trade deadline still looms. 96% of the entire league is now eligible to trade, including the NBA, the Warrior swingman, Jonathan Kuminga. Earlier this morning, Shams reported that the 5th-year guard has demanded a trade out of Golden State. Kuminga has not played since December 18th with several injuries, but mostly coach's decisions. DNPs. The situation has been brewing for what seems to be years with Jonathan Kuminga. Shams. What can you tell us about who's interested in acquiring him?
MJ, there have been multiple teams that have been kind of canvassing. What is the Jonathan Kuminga market? What can we get? What can we give potentially the Warriors that would allow him to come here? Dallas and Sacramento have been at the top of the list so far for Jonathan Kuminga. Mutual interest with them. There are multiple other teams looking at it, but those are the 2 teams really over the last couple weeks that have been at the forefront of this. But again, it's what can the Warriors get out of it that will allow them to continue to let Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green contend. Bobby Marks said it earlier on the show. It's like, is there some front court player that they can go find, they can plug in there that can help them? The one positive that the Warriors do have is this is a trade-friendly, team-friendly contract that Jonathan Kuminga is on. $22.5 million this season, and then he's got a team option for next year. Teams do have interest getting that team option here. Then you can kind of dictate and determine what you want to do from there.
Yeah, the wheeling and dealing will begin. Speaking of those teams, let's get to our front office insider, Bobby Marks, who's over at the Trade Machine.
Well, Shams mentioned one of those teams, which is the Sacramento Kings. And remember, Golden State is a first apron team, which means that you are not allowed to take back more salary in any trade here. So where does Sacramento have? Remember, we talked about front court help. They do have guards. Malik Monk has certainly been mentioned, but he's got 2 more years left on his contract after the season. When we look at it, here we go, with Monk and Kuminga, and then also a player like Keon Ellis, who's been talked about a lot. That trade actually works, but what does that do actually for Golden State here when you're getting 2 guards back? Certainly Ellis could help. Shams mentioned also the Dallas Mavericks. This is where it becomes complicated, where you're likely going to have to get a 3rd team involved. You have that Kuminga salary, which is at $22.5 million. But look at the rest of the roster. AD, Kyrie. I mean, certainly Daniel Gafford could help if you could, but he's making $14.4 million. How do you get the salary to match? This is a Mavericks team that's also a first apron team. They can't take back salary here. So it does become a little bit more challenging with the Mavericks here. But as we've said all along, it's likely going to take a 3rd team to get involved. And also, what is going to be the asking price for Golden State to take back contracts long term?
Okay, Bobby doing all the hard work for us here. Perk, what do you think about that?
I don't like either one of them. I love Bobby, but not because we're talking about Steph Curry, a guy that wants to win a championship. You need something that's going to actually move the needle. Michael Porter Jr., in my opinion, that's averaging about 25 points in Brooklyn, shooting a high percentage, won the NBA championship. Damn it, that moves the needle. Can that work, Bobby?
Well,
we'll find a way to make it work.
Well, we can look at it here, but here's the thing that's interesting with when you look at Michael Porter Jr., who's got another year after this season here. His contract's at $38 million. Remember, they can't take back more salary. When you have Jonathan Kuminga, now we've got to start adding salary here. Moses Moody, Buddy Hield. Like, you keep now, it's not just Kuminga now it's a second player or a third player that to get to that $30 million number here. It's certainly doable, and as we've said, it's basically getting a third team involved, but it takes away some of your other players on your roster. But that, we talked about the timeline, right? That fits the timeline because he only has another year left after the season, and a player that's averaging 26 points and can give you some size in the front court.
The thing about Golden State that's interesting, if they want to be a hunter, a buyer in the market, they do own 4 tradable first-round picks. So if you're going to try to talk Brooklyn into making a deal like that, you're going to have to do it with draft compensation. And I think Golden State would be doing it, but they would have to be darn sure that this is the player, because this would probably be their last big move in the Curry era.
And to Brian's point, to this point, the Warriors have not been a Michael Porter Jr. serious suitor. They have had a level of interest, but they have not considered him to be a true pursuit for them this year. And they're saving all these draft picks for a potential no-brainer star. Which star, who is that going to be, when it's going to be? But they want to keep those long-term assets for a player they deem to be a no-brainer star.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. Mike Dunleavy needs to do his damn job without consulting with Draymond. Draymond, you don't need to have conversations with him. Do what's best for the organization. Do what's best for an all-time great in Steph Curry. Steph Curry putting up 28 points right now at 46% from the field shows that he wants to win and he's committed. Damn it, you go and get it done.
Yeah, putting him on his back. All right, let's stick in the West here.
That's what you do.
As the defending champs are in Houston tonight, taking on the Rockets. These two teams have met one time. It was on opening night in a double overtime thriller that resulted in a Thunder win. SGA finished with a team-high 35, while Alperen Sengun led the way with 39 in the loss. Now, the Rockets have lost 4 of their 6 games and have slipped to 6th in the Western Conference. Brian, do you think either of these teams need to address any issues with the trade deadline just 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, so Houston's in a weird spot. So at the beginning of the season, they lost Fred VanVleet. That was a terrible turn of events because they didn't have depth at point guard, and they decided not to go get a point guard at that time. And they played for the first 2-3 months. They played amazing offense. They were top 5 offense in the league. None of us could believe it. And it's come back to reality. During this stretch, their offense has collapsed, and frankly, their defense hasn't been good enough to support it. So the thing is, Fred VanVleet even said recently in an interview that he isn't even ruling out coming back this year. Now, I'm not considering that at all, but you can't invest in a major point guard when you've got Fred VanVleet as your franchise point guard next year. And so is there a minor deal that they could do to sort of be a stopgap? That's something I think they've got to consider because their offense is just lost its mojo.
Yeah, Fred VanVleet is operating in his mind. He's telling himself, I'm going to be back this season. I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back in March, April, whenever it is for the playoffs. The reality is rehab works different. It's fluid. It's tough. He just suffered that ACL tear in September. To be able to come back in April for these high stakes, high equity playoff games, again, there's going to be a lot of doubt about it. But in his mind, he's trying to come back.
Yeah, Bobby, what can the Rockets do here?
Well, I don't want to say the sky's falling because if you look at the standings today, they're in 7th place in the Western Conference. But if you win tonight against Oklahoma City, you're at second, I think. That's how fluid it is here. They are loaded with draft picks here. I mean, look at what they have as far as they have a Suns first next year. Remember, they got to right the swap with Brooklyn in 2027 also, and then the best of their own Dallas and Phoenix. So from draft picks, they are in a great position here. And as we've talked about, here are some of your expiring contracts. That VanVleet number, which is at $25 million. Can we get him back as far as when we get closer to playoffs? Tari Eason's a restricted free agent, and Dorian Smith, who they signed in the offseason. So they have the contracts. Of course, short-term moves as far as they were very conservative last year at the deadline here, but they did overhaul this roster. And I do still think it's patience when you're trying to integrate some of these players. Kevin Durant, Clint Capella, VanVleet's been out, playing Sar Thompson out of position a little bit here. So for me, it's patience, not save some of these things for the offseason and kind of figure out where you are after the playoffs.
Bobby, thanks for doing all the math for me because I'm not capable. It's time for Shoot Your Shot, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Well, let me shoot mine.
Let's go.
Let me shoot mine for the night. Giannis averaging 30, so he damn sure going to get over 27.5 points tonight. Luka leading the league in scoring. Nobody on the Hornets is going to be able to stop him. He's going to, without no Austin Reeves, he's going to have 40. And Braun, he's been averaging about 24, 25 points. That's not going to stop tonight either. I'm taking the over on these 3 guys. You could book it.
All right, on DraftKings Sportsbook, new customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code SCREEN when you sign up.
For everything you poured into the city.
Yeah, it's not tears, it's eyelash glue, okay? What a
almost
moment.
made me drown myself a bit.
Moment. And look who's here with us, Del Curry himself. Welcome to NBA Today, and congratulations. I mean, for anyone who's been living under a rock, not familiar with your Hornets resume, you are the original, the OG Hornet, the first player taken in that expansion draft. So that moment that we saw there, I mean, that visceral reaction, all of us got a little choked up. You said there was a little trickeration, though, to get you there, huh?
Yeah, they played it well. Sent me a big elaborate email about, we're going to talk about the future of the team, the new performance center they're building, and the new ownership, my thoughts of going forward. And I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And they threw that on me. They got me. Yeah, I actually had to go back and watch it a couple times so that I don't get teared up again.
I mean, you are just really the second player to have your number up in the rafters. So those tears, that moment, what was it like for you to see that in real time?
Oh, I can't put into words what that means. I had so many people help me get to that point. I can't thank Rick and Gabe and the entire organization enough. It's a dream come true. My buddy Muggsy right there with me, the part of it. I mean, you go down the list of players that's there, Rex, Alonzo, Larry Johnson, Hersey Hawkins, Kenny Gaddison, all those guys. We were a family. So for me to be the first one, it's not just for me. It represents the city of Charlotte, the teammates, the fans, everybody that helped me get there.
Well, I want to say congratulations, Dale. You're a legend. You're a legend. I love what you do. I love what you brought to the game, and I love what you're doing outside the game. Now, with that being said, listen, all former NBA players would love to have their son in the NBA. You got two of them, like two of the best shooters to ever do it, and one of the all-time greats. How does it feel? Describe the feeling of having two sons in the NBA.
I pitch myself every day. As a father, you know this. You want your kids to be better than you were. Well, that didn't take long for them to be better players. And my daughter as well. They are great humans, and that's going to last them a lifetime. That's what makes me proud. Yeah, they play basketball for a living, and they're great at it, but when people come up, be referees, people around the league, hey, your guys are really nice people, man. They're genuine. They're respectful. That means more to me than anything they can do on the floor.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I got Steph as the greatest point guard of all time, but we don't even have to.
That's two of them.
Okay, all right, we don't have to go there. But I do want to ask you a Hornets-related question when it comes down to LaMelo Ball and his future with the Hornets. Like, what do you see there?
LaMelo's playing great basketball. I think the culture is starting to change there. Our rookies are really good. Talk about Con Knipple, Sion James, Kalkbrenner. So the new ownership, moving the team in the right direction. And as me being the first guy there, I want to see this team get back to the team that I know it can be. And LaMelo's going to be a big part of that. He has helped these rookies and Con play like they have so far, and they have helped him. They've taken the pressure off him. He doesn't feel like he has to do a score 30 every night in order to give him a chance to win. So it goes hand in hand. LaMelo's a great guy to be around, fun, energetic, and he likes the team that he's playing on right now, and we like having him.
Yeah, and you can see the energy when he's out there for sure. Another family affair, right, with the Ball brothers there. But taking it back to the family, this past Sunday, Steph had 31 against the Hawks, which moved you guys ahead of Joe and Kobe Bryant on the all-time father-son duo list. You only trail LeBron and Bronny. So are you putting any pressure on Steph now to be like, hey, come on, we got to move up. Look at the numbers right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is his 17th season. He's got a lot more juice in the legs. So I'm just like, hey, let's go, son. Let's hit some threes. Let's finish on top. Now, he still has a lot left to play. Loves the competition factor of the game, the competitive part. Loves his teammates, his organization as well. So, yeah, he's not even close to being finished, in my opinion. I think he has a lot more buckets he's going to score.
I agree. And one thing I want to applaud is that, when you talk about Steph Curry, right, and we look at him as one of the faces of the league still to this day, I got to give you a lot of credit, man, because how he carries himself off the floor, the way that he conducts it and wears that jacket, is a beautiful thing to see.
I think, again, just like having my jersey retired, a lot of people played a part in that. A lot of my teammates played a part in Steph and both my sons learning how to be professionals, learning how to go about their business, and learning that you can be as competitive as you want to be and have to be on the floor, but the game's over. You gotta live with everybody else. You gotta be the person that you are, and it goes back again. They're great people. When you step between the line, they're gonna do everything they can to win, try to beat you. But when the game's over, they're gonna go home, be the great husband, the great father that they are, and that's what makes me proud. So, they love the game. We love the game. It's done a lot for me and my family, and it continues to.
Yeah, no question. And your illustrious career as a broadcaster as well, of course, for the Hornets. So since we're here, we're going to just put you to work a little bit. We have a segment here on NBA Today called Top of the Top. So we want to run through your top 5 Hornets moments, if you will. Number 5, April 8th, 1996. Your late 3 led the Charlotte Hornets, defeating the 72-win Chicago Bulls. What do you remember from that?
You don't see a lot of down screens in the league this year. Coming out with a quick trigger. That's what I remember most.
Well, I see what Steph get it from far as moving without the
They
basketball.
might have fined me for that.
Yeah.
No, stop it. No. Number 4, Bulls Hornets, the very next season. Tie game. What's the pressure right now?
Oh, it's good. Get Steve Kerr in the air on a ball fake. One escape dribble. A little help came out. I probably said thanks for coming out. But
You smack talking? No way. Number 3, 1993 led the Hornets to the franchise's first ever playoff appearance. Come on.
yeah, love coming off the bench. This is probably one of the best teams that we had back in the day with Alonzo. And you know how good the Celtics were. The Charlotte Coliseum was alive every single night. They came out to watch us and support us.
This was Del Curry's 6th NBA season. He was honored Thursday as the league's best 6th man. The Hornets' all-time leading scorer edged Seattle's Nate McMillan in the balloting. He scored in double figures in 73 of Charlotte's 82 games.
There it is. So where is that 6th Man of the Year trophy right now?
In my man cave.
Let's go.
Shined up looking nice every day.
I know that's right. At number 1, 1989, the game winner versus the Warriors at the buzzer.
Yeah. My buddy Muggsy said, hey, I remember the coach dribble play. That's not going to work. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to fake like I'm running the play. You're going to be open in the corner. I'm going to throw it to you. Make the shot.
That's called trust.
That's right. That's right.
Feels like yesterday, yeah?
It does.
Watching
It
back.
goes by fast, I'm telling you.
And it does. Time is a thief. Del Curry, congratulations again. Your jersey will be retired on March 19th in Charlotte. We can't wait for that night. Thank you for coming by NBA Today.
Well, thanks for having me. You guys do a great job. I enjoy watching.
It's awesome.